The biggest mistake of your life. Nobody taught you how to avoid it. Not your parents, not your school, not your teachers. They taught you history. They taught you math. They taught you how to write an essay nobody will ever read. They taught you the periodic table. They made you memorize dates, wars, formulas. But nobody sat you down and said, here's how money actually works. Here's why most people stay broke their entire lives, even when they earn good money. Here's the trap. Here's the exit. Nobody said any of that. And the worst part? Nobody thought it was important enough to say. Because the system wasn't designed to teach you. The system was designed to keep you running, consuming, spending, working to spend, spending to feel alive, feeling alive just long enough to go back to work. And until now, you've been a really good hamster. This video is going to make you uncomfortable. Not because it attacks you, not because you've done something wrong, but because some truths only reach you when they hurt. And this one has been sitting right in front of you for years. Your problem isn't your income, it's your missing system. Remember that line. Everything in this video connects back to it. Let me tell you a story you already know. Someone was barely getting by. Every month, same ritual. Paycheck comes in, bills go out. Check the account somewhere around the 25th. The number stares back. They stare at the number. A quiet panic. A quiet promise. Next month, I'll be more careful. Next month comes, same thing. Then one day, the raise comes, or the new job, or the promotion. And for a moment, everything feels different. There's a lightness, a sense of finally. They go out to celebrate. They deserve it. They really do. First 2 months are incredible. Better restaurant on Friday nights, a phone upgrade they'd been putting off for 2 years, a weekend trip. Small things, but they feel earned. The feeling of, I deserve this, is real, and it's warm, and there's nothing wrong with it. But 6 months later, same account, same balance. Almost zero. How did this happen? The income went up, so why does it feel exactly the same? Why is there still that tightness at the end of the month? Why is the account still whispering the same quiet panic? Because income went up, but expenses went up faster. And they did it quietly, gradually, in ways that each felt completely reasonable at the time. The streaming services went from 2 to 4, just a few dollars each. The gym membership got upgraded. The grocery store changed. Slightly better brands, slightly higher prices. Felt like a natural step up. The car started feeling small, so a lease made sense. The apartment felt dated, so they moved somewhere nicer. Just a bit nicer. Just a bit more expensive. Each decision, on its own, made sense. Felt earned. Felt normal. But together they built a cage. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is the quietest, most invisible trap ever built. Because it doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like progress. It feels like you're finally living the way you always imagined you would when you made more money. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. The cage can be beautiful. The cage can have nice furniture and good food and a comfortable bed. But open the door. Can you actually leave? Can you walk away from your job next month without panic? Can you take 3 months off without financial disaster? If the answer is no, the cage is real. No matter how nice it looks. You're not building wealth, you're building expenses. And the worst part? You call it success. You post it, you wear it, you drive it, and somewhere underneath all of it, there's a quiet voice that knows the account is still almost empty. That knows nothing has actually changed. That knows the number at the end of the month tells a different story than the life being performed on the outside. Think about it like a bathtub. Every month a faucet pours money in, your income, but the bathtub has holes. A subscription here, a habit there, a purchase that didn't feel like a decision because it was so small. The money never builds up. It just flows through you and out into the world, and you're left standing in an empty tub wondering where it all went. So let me ask you something real. If your paycheck stopped tomorrow, no warning, just stopped, how many months could you actually survive? Not struggle, not borrow, actually survive with your current lifestyle without touching anyone else's money. 1 month? 2? Most people can't answer that question without their stomach dropping, because the answer is terrifying. Because it reveals that all the income, all the spending, all the lifestyle, none of it built anything. It just passed through. This isn't a lifestyle. This is a loop. Work, earn, spend, repeat. And the loop doesn't care how much you make. The loop runs just as well on a high salary as it does on a low one. The loop is the point, and you're already inside it. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine you lose your wallet. Everything inside, gone. Cards, cash, everything. Awful feeling. But what do? You cancel the cards, you go to the bank, you rebuild. A few weeks of stress, maybe a few months, but eventually it comes back. Money lost can be replaced. Now imagine you lose a year. Not metaphorically, literally. 1 full year of your life, gone. Not a bad year, just a year where nothing was built, nothing was planted, nothing compounded. A year of earning and spending and staying exactly in place. That year doesn't come back. And yet most people lose 5 of them before they start paying attention. Some lose 10. Here's where it gets brutal. 2 people, same starting point, same potential. The first person starts putting away money at 22. Not a large amount, a modest, consistent amount every single month. They do this for 10 years, until they're 32. Then life gets complicated. Maybe kids, maybe a business, maybe they just stop. They never invest another dollar for the rest of their life. The second person waits. At 32, they're finally ready, finally earning enough, finally serious. They invest a much larger amount every month, more than the first person ever did. They do this consistently for 30 years, all the way to 62. Decades of discipline, never missing a month. Who ends up with more money? The first person, the one who stopped at 32. Not by a little, often by a lot. Because the first person gave their money something the second person could never buy back: time. The money planted at 22 had 40 years to grow. The money planted at 32 had 30. That 10-year gap at the beginning, when the numbers are small and it seems like it barely matters, that's the gap that determines everything. This is compound interest. And it sounds like a finance textbook term, but it isn't. It's one of the most important forces in the world, and almost nobody really feels it until it's too late to use it. Here's what it actually means. You invest some money. It grows. Now you have more. That more grows. Now you have even more. And that even more grows too. The growth compounds on itself. It accelerates. And the longer it runs, the faster it goes. Not linearly, exponentially. The money you put in at 22 isn't worth what you put in. It's worth what 40 years of compounding turns it into. And that number is almost unrecognizable compared to where it started. But here's the part that should genuinely hurt. Every year you wait to start isn't just one lost year of contributions. It's one lost year of compounding. And that lost year doesn't just cost you 1 year at the end. It costs you the growth of all the growth of all the growth that would have happened inside that year. The losses echo forward through every year that follows. Every month at 25 where you say, "I'll get serious about this next year." That month is silently reaching forward and taking something from your 50-year-old self. And your 50-year-old self has no way to stop it. No way to reach back. No way to get it returned. You're already behind. Not because you did something wrong, not because you're irresponsible, but because nobody told you this at 18. Nobody made you feel the weight of it. Nobody showed you what a lost decade actually costs when you're 55 and the math becomes visible and irreversible. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Not next month, not when things settle down, not after the next raise. Now. Because even now, today, starting small, you are still years ahead of the version of you that waits another 12 months. Think about the last big purchase you made. The one that cost real money. Or the one you didn't really need but bought anyway. Why did you buy it? Take a second. Actually think about it. Not the justification you gave yourself. The real reason. Was it because you genuinely needed it? Or was it because in that specific moment, buying it felt incredible? Was it because someone you knew had one, and something quietly shifted inside you when you saw it? Was it because you'd had a terrible week, and you needed to feel something good, and buying was the fastest route to that feeling? Be honest. Just for a second, be honest. Because here's what's actually happening inside your brain. Every time you buy something, especially something you've been wanting, your brain releases dopamine. A hit of it. That warm, instant rush of, yes, I got it. It's not a moral failing, it's chemistry. It's the same system that rewards you for eating when you're hungry and drinking when you're thirsty. It's ancient and it's powerful, and it has no idea what a credit card is. That dopamine hit feels like satisfaction, but it isn't. It's anticipation being resolved. And the moment it's resolved, the moment the package arrives, the moment you walk out of the store, the dopamine starts fading. Not slowly, fast. Within hours, sometimes minutes, the feeling is mostly gone. But the purchase remains. And very often, so does the bill. This is the cycle. Want, buy, feel good for a moment, feel neutral, want something else, repeat. And the people who design the stores and the apps and the websites, they know this cycle better than you know it yourself. They study it. They engineer around it. They build entire systems designed to catch you at the exact moment when your resistance is lowest and your desire is highest. Limited stock. That's urgency. That's your brain's loss aversion firing. The fear of missing out is stronger than the desire to gain. Only 2 left. That's scarcity. Rare things feel more valuable, even when they aren't. This deal ends tonight. That's a deadline. Deadlines bypass deliberation. They force a snap decision. And snap decisions favor the seller almost every time. None of that is an accident. Every pixel of it is intentional. But there's a force even more powerful than clever design. It's older and quieter, and it gets almost no attention. Social pressure. When someone close to you, a friend, a coworker, a sibling, buys something new, something inside you shifts. You might not even notice it consciously, but something happens. A small recalibration. A quiet feeling that your current thing is suddenly a little less than it was 5 minutes ago. Not because anything changed, just because the comparison exists now. And social media made this permanent and inescapable. Before, you compared yourself to your neighborhood, to your circle, to the people you actually encountered. That was already hard enough. Now you compare yourself to millions of people's best moments, curated and filtered and posted specifically to generate exactly the feeling you're feeling right now. You're watching highlight reels and measuring them against your regular Tuesday. You will lose that comparison every single time. And the market knows it. The market is built on it. Here's the most important thing I can tell you in this entire video. You don't have a money problem. You have a behavior problem. And that's not an insult. It's actually good news. Because behaviors can change. Behaviors can be interrupted. Behaviors can be replaced with systems. Your spending right now isn't random. It follows patterns. It has triggers. Something happens: stress, boredom, a social comparison, a craving, a hard day, and a behavior follows. And that behavior almost always costs money. And after the money is spent, the trigger comes back. Because spending didn't fix anything. It just quieted the feeling temporarily. The autopilot is running. And until someone points it out, you don't even notice it's on. Here's the most dangerous lie about wealthy people. They have more willpower than me. They don't. Some of them do, sure. But as a group, no. Wealthy people fail diets just like everyone else. They make impulsive decisions. They have bad days. They don't want to do hard things any more than you do. The difference isn't character. The difference is architecture. Wealthy people build systems. And systems don't require willpower, because systems don't ask for your opinion. They just run. Think about what you do every single month. Paycheck comes in, you live your life. You buy things, pay things, do things. And somewhere at the end of the month, if there's anything left, maybe you save it. Maybe you invest it. Maybe you tell yourself you'll move it next week and then forget. That approach has a name. It's called save what's left. And it almost never works. Because there is almost never anything left. Life expands to fill available income. Spending finds a way. The I'll save what's left method produces, for most people, close to nothing. Now flip it. The day your paycheck arrives, before you do anything else, a fixed amount moves automatically. Not to your spending account. Somewhere else. Somewhere slightly inconvenient to access. An investment account. A brokerage. Somewhere that requires a little friction to reach. You don't decide to do this every month. You decided once, you set it up once, and now the system does it for you. Rain or shine. Good month or bad month. Motivated or not. The money moves. Then you live on what's left. That's it. That's the whole system at its most basic. And the psychological trick is powerful. You adjust to what you have available. If you have $1,000 in your spending account, you spend like someone with $1,000. If you had $1,200, you'd spend like someone with $1,200. The number shifts and your lifestyle follows it downward, just like it follows it upward with lifestyle inflation. Reverse the direction. Set the ceiling. Let the system enforce it. This is not about deprivation. This is not about suffering or sacrifice or giving up things you love. It's about building a structure that works even on the days you don't. Because those days come. The tired days. The sad days. The I just need something today days. Those days are real and they will always be there. Motivation disappears on exactly those days. The days when you need it most, it's gone. But the system doesn't care. The system already ran on the first of the month. The decision was already made. The money already moved. What you do with the rest of the day is irrelevant to the outcome. And now, slowly, quietly, every single month, a gap opens up. The gap between what you earn and what you spend. At first it's small, barely visible, but it grows. Every month it grows a little more. And that gap isn't just a number. That gap is the physical representation of your future freedom accumulating. One day that gap becomes large enough that you start to have choices you didn't have before. You could take a month off. You could leave a job you hate. You could say no to something that would have trapped you 6 months ago. You could take a risk, start something, bet on yourself. Because you have a cushion now. You have room. That room, that's what money is actually for. Not the car, not the watch, not the thing that gets posted. The room. The ability to make choices from a position of security rather than desperation. The system builds that room. Month by month, automatically, while you live your life. At some point in your life, you decided money was for things. You probably didn't make that decision consciously. It was made for you, gradually, by everything around you. Advertising, social media, the things people around you bought and wore and drove. The idea that success looks a certain way. Visible, material, comparable. And so you started spending money in the direction of that image. A better phone because a better phone reads as successful. A nicer car because a nicer car signals arrival. Clothes, restaurants, vacations, all of it partly for you, yes, but also partly performed. A signal sent outward. Look, I've made it. I'm doing well. Here's the thing about that stranger who sees your car. They're not thinking what you hope they're thinking. They're not registering your success or your taste or your hard work. For a fraction of a second, they see a nice car, and what fires in their brain is a version of, I wish I had that. And then they look away and forget you completely. They saw the car. They didn't see you. So who are you buying it for? This is not a judgment. This is a question worth sitting with honestly. Because if the answer is even partially for how it looks to others, then you're spending real money to rent a feeling that lasts seconds in a stranger's mind. That's an extraordinarily bad return on investment. Real wealth doesn't perform. Real wealth is the ability to wake up on a Monday morning and not feel dread. It's knowing that if this job ended today, you would be okay. Not comfortable forever, but okay. Stable, not panicking, with time to make a good decision rather than a desperate one. Real wealth is being able to say no. No to the job that pays well but takes everything from you. No to the client who disrespects you. No to the situation that feels wrong. No to the obligation that exists only because you can't afford to lose the connection. Money doesn't buy you freedom. That's too vague, too abstract. Money buys you the right to say no. And that right, specific, practical, life-changing, is worth infinitely more than anything you can put in a driveway or hang on your wrist. Because it changes how you move through the world. It changes what you tolerate. It changes who you become. The problem is, you can't post it. You can't wear it. Nobody walks past it and thinks, goals. It's invisible. It lives in a bank account and a spreadsheet and a quiet confidence that most people around you don't have and can't quite identify. But you'll feel it every morning when you wake up and realize you have choices. And that feeling, unlike everything you've ever bought, doesn't fade. Most people understand all of this at 40, not because someone finally tells them, but because by 40, the evidence has accumulated. The account that never really grew, the raises that disappeared, the years that passed without the freedom getting any closer. The slow, creeping awareness that the loop has been running for a long time, and nothing has changed except the number of years behind them. And they look in the mirror one morning, and the thought arrives fully formed and undeniable. I wish I had started sooner. Not, I wish I had worked harder. Not, I wish I had earned more. I wish I had started sooner. Because deep down they know, the income was there, the money passed through. The system just wasn't built to catch any of it. They can't say nobody told them, because nobody did. This isn't in the curriculum. It isn't in the conversation. It lives in finance books that most people never open, and advice columns that arrive too late, and videos like this one that maybe, if you're lucky, find you at the right moment. You're watching this. That's something. That's a real advantage over the version of yourself that never does. But here is what I need you to understand before this ends. Knowing this changes nothing on its own. Understanding the trap doesn't automatically free you from it. Understanding compound interest doesn't make it work for you. Understanding behavioral psychology doesn't rewire your habits overnight. What changes things is the system. Built today, not perfectly, not completely, just started. A single automatic transfer, a number decided, a structure put in place that runs even when you forget about it, even when life gets complicated, even when motivation disappears entirely. Compound interest doesn't care how inspired you feel. It cares how early you start and how consistently it runs. Time doesn't pause while you finish thinking about it. And your 40-year-old self, the one who will either have choices or won't, who will either wake up with options or wake up inside the same loop. That person is being decided right now by what you do in the next few days, by whether this video becomes a thought you had once or a shift that actually happened. You still have time, but not as much as you think. And the moment you finished reading that sentence, it's already in the past.